Hi, my name is Stephen Bronk, and I'm a soloist here at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. I've been here for 13 years now, and I've been singing professionally for a good 42 years now. And I would like to take the opportunity of all of us being stuck in our homes to talk with you about components of singing management, is what I call it. There are various components of singing, and I'd like to share with you from my experience and from things that I've learned, and perhaps you will be able to learn a thing or two. Perhaps you'll try something new, and I hope this can be useful and helpful to you in your development as a singer. So today I have a special guest. She'll be helping me with the presentation. Last time I made one of these installments, I talked about breathing, and I mentioned the fact that body centering is a very important factor in singing. Now, body centering is exactly what the name implies. It is to center the body and to be able to use all of the muscle groups that we have for breathing, for singing, for movement, from a central position, meaning that our bodies at times take on certain postures that are not exactly helpful, and we need to discover a little bit about how to centralize things in a practical approach. For instance, when you stand, one of the important things about standing and centering the body, let's start from the bottom up. I don't know if you can see my feet, but I hope so. Well, my feet are about yay apart, meaning sort of shoulder width. That's a good way to start off. A lot of people favor one leg or the other, and like to put their weight on there. But one of the things that's very important for a good central body is to keep your weight distributed on both feet. And the best way to do that is if you just move your center, your forward a little bit, and I can't really move back very much here, but perhaps this will help a little bit. Okay, and just move forward a little bit until you feel that your weight is on the balls of your feet and the toes. Okay, and come back again, and try that again. Okay, and this way, what happens is, I kind of like to make the analogy to a tennis player. You know, when tennis players are on the court, they never really know which way they're going to go. You know, they have to wait for the serve, and then they can take off. But in order to be ready for that, they have to be distributing the weight of their bodies on both feet, and the knees should never be locked, you know, in loose position, because this way you will always have the mobility and flexibility to go up and down or sideways or whatever it is that you need to do. This keeps you supple, and it gives you a very good, stable base for the rest of the body. And once again, as I said before, the thorax. A lot of people think of the thorax as from here to here. The thorax actually goes until here. Okay, so your thorax and your hips here, okay, are parts of the body that need to feel relaxed. And in order to do that, one of the things we've discovered, for instance, is that a lot of people tend to bunch up their shoulders. The shoulders start coming up, and what you want to do is you want to be able to keep the shoulders down. The shoulders down, your legs are able to do whatever you want to do here, okay? And the chest, and I'll get to that when we talk about the breathing also, but the chest, your breastbone should be outward, okay? So you don't have this happening, you know, so you're more like this. Kind of roll your shoulders back a little bit and let your arms dangle. And this will help you to center your body. There are some very good Western methods, as you've probably heard of Alexander method or Feldenkrais methods. There's a resonance method. These are all very, very good methods to explore the way your body works and to help you to a better posture, which in turn will grant you better results. There are also a huge number of Eastern or Oriental exercises that are also extremely helpful in finding out where your body is at best. The reason for this, of course, is because anything you do, you know, if you move to one side or move to the other, certain muscle groups start working overtime, others begin to relax, and if you strike, you know, if you're used to this kind of a posture, you know, what happens is there's no energy in your body. And the energies that are there are kind of stuck in certain places. Whereas if you are sort of in readiness, you know, like the tennis player to dash off into any other position whatsoever, and you keep this part of your body, the thorax, free from tensions by basically loosening your shoulders. This is a very important part. Shoulders are a part that your arms, you know, the shoulders that are attached to the thorax and to your arms have a tendency to rise. And so you always want to just kind of drop those arms, but without drooping, okay? Important, drop them. There's an exercise I can't do right now because I don't have the space, but is to just let your arms hang and start swinging, and let your arms just dangle, and you start swinging more, and your arms will dangle more and more and more, and then you kind of stop and let your arms just kind of do what they're doing until they stop, and there you have a feeling for what it is to center the body. Now, you can imagine why this is an important part, because if you are stuck somewhere, if you're tense, if your body, if muscles that control the way you stand are in any way hindered or are being overly used and others are not being used enough, then you will begin to get into certain patterns that are certainly going to lead you into certain problems, okay? So body centering is a very, very important aspect. As far as the head is concerned, I'll move back a little bit then. What you want to be feeling here, you see, once you've dropped your shoulders, you know, so make sure that they're down like this, okay? Once you've done that, another wonderful part of body centering is to imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head here and somebody's just pulling it up like this, okay? You don't want to be forcing any of this, all right? So it's kind of like you're standing there and you sort of have the feeling that there's a pull up here which frees your neck from any tension that you might have and might be experiencing. Now I wanted to just clarify a couple of things about the breathing process, because last time we started talking about that, and there's a certain lack of exercises, okay? The thing about the exercises, as I said last time, is you want to have somebody who can tell you whether you're doing this the right way, whether the way you're doing it is going to be helpful or it's not going to be so helpful because you're doing something wrong. I think it was Yehudi Menuhin, the great violinist, who was asked once about by a student, how many times should I practice? How long should I practice? And he said, well, you can practice 14 hours, but if you're not practicing well, you won't get anywhere. Otherwise, 5-10 minutes is enough. So this is a very, very important part of it, that you want to have a certain control over what you're doing by having somebody who can comment on it and give you some pointers. When we were talking about the breathing, okay, there are a couple of things that I'd like to clarify as far as breathing for singers. There are singers who like to breathe, who like to inhale through the nose. And I've always said, okay, I do understand that, because there is a direct connection between breathing through the nose and the diaphragm. Every time you breathe through the nose, you will feel the diaphragm contracting. However, the problem with this is breathing through the nose is something that we do, of course, especially in the cold weather. And the nose was not made for singing. Breathing through the nose is not made for singing. The reason I say that is because, as you can imagine, we differentiate odors by sniffing. If there's something good in the oven, and look, wow, there's something really good. I smell something really good. But we sniff, okay? And this is not enough for as an impulse to the body for singing, because you are not engaging your thorax completely by breathing through your nose. Whereas, however, if you open your mouth and take a breath, you will directly energize your body to make it ready to sing. This way, if you think of yawning, okay? Now, yawning is something that has 3 phases. I would say 3, maybe it has more, but 3 are the important ones. There's the inhalation, okay? There's the exhalation, so there's inhalation and there's exhalation. And there's a phase right in the middle, which is where nothing happens. Everything kind of just stops. And that's the golden moment for us singers, okay? I will get back to that when we start talking about vocal technique, because it's a really important part of that. So think of breathing in and out through your mouth. And not just, not with a closed jaw or anything like that, but open your mouth, Let the air come in. And you'll notice the difference, between breathing through your nose or taking a breath with your mouth open, okay? Because this will immediately, and if you think of yawning, will immediately energize your body, okay? Energizing the body, well, that's a very broad term, but what we're basically thinking, what we're trying to do is engage the body in preparation for singing. And this is a question then of support. Now, obviously, we cannot be supporting the phrase or the music that we're making with the air that we breathe, because we are trying to turn the air into sound. So the air cannot be the part that supports the singing. The support, rather, is your body. Because, as you can imagine, any instrument, a piano, a violin, a flute, they all have bodies. And these are finite bodies. And they are made to resonate. And as you can imagine, we are our instrument, and we are made to resonate. And so, of course, we cannot be, we have to be able to use our body as the instrument. And that's from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, okay? Which is why body centering is so important. So support is a very difficult subject, because there's so many different ways that people go about it. Things like holding a coin between your buttocks, or thinking of there's a whole slew of different things out there, and they all basically come down to the same thing, but they dance around it pretty much in a way that is more imaginative than real. And obviously, the breathing process, as we talked about last time, I said, okay, you take a breath, the diaphragm contracts, the abdominals relax, okay? Because as your diaphragm is contracting, you have to make space. And so the abdominals and the intercostals here and the oblique muscles here, they will all relax in order to make room for the diaphragm that is contracted. Okay, now comes the difficult part, because we're breathing out again. But we want to sing. And in order to regulate the breath, we need to have certain parts of the body helping us there. Because the diaphragm is not involved in exhalation. The diaphragm only returns to its position, initial position. So all of these other muscles are the ones that are going to be helping us with that. And any of you who have ever lifted heavy objects, okay? After a while, you might have heard or experienced yourself that you sort of, and you have this, and this release of air, okay? The reason for that, of course, is this is what the vocal folds are for. They're there to protect, to make sure that you don't get food into your larynx or into your lungs, and they're there for lifting. Okay, they're there to help you in the bathroom, and they're there to help you with childbirth. Vocal folds, okay? That's when they're really, but of course what we want is to sing with them, okay? And so we don't need that amount of force that you need, for instance, in order to lift a piano. But you might want to try it just carefully, just to feel what it feels like or what exactly is going on when you breathe in and try to lift something heavy. Or if you lift heavy things, one after the other, after a while your body gets tired and you feel like you need to help by holding the air. So what you're basically looking for is you're looking for the muscles that help you do that. The diaphragm is not just a muscle that floats, in your body somewhere. It is, of course, it's a flat muscle, but it is attached to your spine back here. Okay, so you will be able to feel that when you breathe in, when the diaphragm contracts, that there's also an expansion here in this part of your back. And that's a very good place to start. We also have up here and in front the abdominal muscles. There's a whole set of them. Everybody knows, the six-pack, but there are actually a bit more. And the ones that are going to help us here with support are the lower abdominals, okay? Now, there's a way you can try to feel this. If you put your hands just basically here on your abdominals and cough, you'll feel that the abdominals contract, okay? They go in. All right? Now, if you go further down, about where your belt would be, all right? And you try that again. And you'll find that the abdominals do not go in, but they kind of kick out. And this is where we will be finding the support system, what the Italian appoggio is based on, okay? I will be getting into, at another point, into explanations for the support system, some exercises for the support system, and then we can also start into the phonation part, okay? And I look forward to your suggestions, to your comments, and mostly your questions. I'd just like to tell you also that for those of you who possibly are not in command of the English language enough and would like to pose questions in your native language, I do speak Portuguese and I can answer them in Portuguese. I also speak German and I can answer any questions in German, and I would love to do that. So I look forward to seeing you again, and until then, be healthy, be safe, and see you soon.